Well, hey there, everyone. It's Chris from the Red Record Podcast. If you've seen me before, you're probably wondering why I'm holding my microphone. Well, the arm got in the way. I'm in the middle of moving things, so this is just a little weird. I gotta do this. Sorry if you hear extra noise. I'm kind of doing the Molly Sanborn thing right now, so gonna have to deal with that. That's not a rip on Molly at all. Actually, I rather enjoy her content. So Molly, if you're listening, I promise that wasn't ripping. I'm just doing the whole review and holding microphone thing. Anyways, it's the new music review. I got 3 songs regardless. I don't have a microphone arm, but I got 3 songs. Let's check out those brand new songs now. Why not? Okay, so first up we have Queens of the Stone Age. We've done them on the show before, so at the very least I can put some card above my head right now to reference older content. But yes, Queens of the Stone Age, an alt-rock band originally from Seattle, Washington, but then eventually became more known with the Palm Desert music scene out of California. They have a new album dropping this June, I believe it's June 16th, their 8th studio album called In Times New Roman, and their first single that they just dropped is called Emotion Sickness. So to start everything off, I generally like the guitar riffs and tones in this entire track, mainly in the verses, but overall it's not so bad. There's something really kind of raw about it, but I mean, if you've seen any of my reviews from the past, you know I definitely dig those types of tones. I won't lie though, this definitely did feel like an Eagles of Death Metal track, and I'm pretty sure if you've heard Eagles of Death Metal before, you'll agree with that. Josh Homme's even played a role in that band, I think mainly as a drummer, maybe as a co-writer, I can't be certain. But regardless, it kind of reminded me of like one of their later albums, the one with like High Voltage and stuff like that on it. Regardless, maybe that's just me, I don't know. But if you want to bring it back to Queens of the Stone Age, I feel like this has a small mixture of things like Clockwork and Villains, like their last 2 albums prior to this new one coming out. One of those albums I like, I can tell you that much, so that might be an indicator of how I feel about this song. The harmonies in the chorus are pretty cool, but I can't be too surprised about harmonies in the Queens of the Stone Age song, considering Josh is really good for them. He's really good at doing those falsettos to bring them out, so that's a little fun, but the problem is I think overall the chorus felt a little underwhelmed as a whole. The verses were definitely a lot more fun, so I don't know where I sit in that matter, I guess, for the chorus. Or maybe I do, because I said I kind of didn't care for it too much. Overall, it is a decent track. I mean, it's not like their older stuff, which I'm way more into, like Air Vulgaris and like Clockwork, who were like the last 2 big albums that I really loved. But I will say I am curious to check out the rest of the album when it drops, because they still did it for Villains when that came out too. The punchy guitars are a good indicator that maybe I'm in for something good, so we will see. So next up on the list we have the band Spiderbite, and they are a hardcore band out of Ontario, Canada. Now I'm assuming Ontario, Canada, because their Bandcamp page only says Ontario, and I'm going to assume it's Canada because one of their band members is from the Constantines, which is from Guelph, Ontario, and I just so happened for a short time at the very least, I knew the guitarist and vocalist Brian Webb in my short time in college a few years back, because he was like one of the he like ran the radio station there essentially, so that's how I got to know him. But back to Spiderbite though, they do have a brand new album also dropping on June 16th, if the Queens of Stone Age one as well. It's called The Rainbow and the Dove, and the very first single that they have is Human Body, Human Brain. Now growing up I wasn't huge into hardcore punk style music, but I was very much aware of it. I didn't really get into it more until I became an adult, so I can't speak on behalf of like, oh, what the old stuff might sound like or anything like that, but at the same time I think this is a really good modern showing of it. It doesn't feel too modern though, it's just that it's a modern showing. Just the time frame, I'm great at explaining things. It's fast, it's loud, it's messy, it's super energetic, like it's what you would expect out of a hardcore punk style production. And speaking of the production too, I love the grimy production on this track, because again, just kind of suits the atmosphere and genre of the music and everything like that. It matches the mood perfectly. I wanted something a little noisier this week for sure. Not all 3 tracks are going to be that, but I wanted something noisier, and this one did not disappoint. There's a cool slowdown towards the end too, so it's not just like all hyper fast hardcore punk style. It does kind of slow down for a little bit, and you know what? I really like that too. I thought it sounds great. It still felt grimy. I think it was a little more digestible than the verses, depending on how you approach this style of music. I think it sounds pretty cool. Overall, there's not much to say because it has a runtime of less than 90 seconds in true punk fashion. This is fun. I like it. Definitely give it a try if you were like more down for the hardcore type of material. Hardcore revival, that's what I wanted to say. And finally on the list, we have the band Lovejoy, and Lovejoy are an indie rock band out of Brighton, East Sussex, England. They just released a brand new EP called Wake Up and It's Over, and the single that I'm checking out today is called Portrait of a Blank Slate. I love the energy to start this track right away. I love the bounciness of the harmony octave in the bass. It's definitely a very danceable track to start out with. It's not the entire song, but it is like a good chunk of it at the very least. Very fast, very dancey. It's got that like 2010s indie rock type feel. If you think about bands from that era and how things were like a little faster, dancier, that's kind of what this is. That is until the chorus comes in. I will say that the chorus is so fulfilling too, because I think the verses, as energetic as they were, felt like they were holding back on a few things. It felt a little more restrained, but the chorus just kind of let everything go, and it was absolutely amazing. The pace slows down, and the layers start filling up the soundscape a whole lot, so you're getting a whole lot more, especially when I just said, like, you know, the verses felt like they were lacking something. Well, the chorus definitely started packing that in, so I really like that. Other than that awesome payoff, though, for the chorus, the song doesn't go in too many different directions other than the verse and chorus themselves. So it's just kind of like you get what you hear very quickly, but at the same time, it feels like there's something to be appreciated in its nearly 4-minute runtime. You might like the faster, energetic indie parts. Maybe you like the slower, more pop-punkish parts. Regardless, there's something here that I think you're likely to enjoy. Overall, this is a good one. As I mentioned, it's got that 2010 indie rock dance feel to it. I'm not super huge in that particular sound, but I can still appreciate it. The more pop punky sounding chorus is kind of where I'm at. It's a lot heavier too, so I just really enjoyed that. It gave the song a lot more life, so I would say give this one a try, and let me know where you sit with it. And there you go, those are my 3 songs of the week for the NMR, so thank you very much for joining me for this one and checking out the music if you did indeed check out those musics. Let me know down in the comments below how you thought of these songs or what you thought of these songs, your opinion. Do you agree with me, disagree with me? I'm very curious, be part of this discussion because I don't want to be the only one talking about this. Come on, you can do it, let me know. But hey, other places that you can let us know your opinion at too is at ratetherecord.ca because you'll find everything you need over there. All of our streaming links for the podcast, all of our social media links if you want to start following us on those particular platforms. If you want to get to us by email for whatever reason, no one ever really does, but that's an option. Regardless, you can find all that and more, including album request links, album giveaway links, ko-fi.com/ratetherecord if you want to support us financially. There's a whole bunch to check out over at ratetherecord.ca, so go ahead and do that and find something that you like. Speaking of streaming links, speaking of the podcast is actually over for now, and by that I mean Season 4 just ended this past Monday. It was the final episode of Season 4, Episode 78. We looked at 9 Inch Nails and their debut album, Pretty Hate Machine. Resident 9 Inch Nails fan here, so you know I'm obviously excited to do a 9 Inch Nails album, so you should check it out. Let us know your opinion on it. Very curious, because we also have Season 5 coming up a little later, so you got plenty of time to binge stuff that if you missed it, including the most recent episode, so hey, go check it out. The podcast is on break, as I just said, and so next week you can expect us to release our ranking number 1s episode for Season 4. So we basically just take all the number 1s that we ranked on our podcast there, like individually, and then we just rank our least favorite number 1 to our most favorite number 1. They're all favorites because they're all number 1s, but still, like, one's gonna be the best of the best. That's a cool video to do. We do it at the end of every season. It's fun, so make sure you stick around and check that out. All that and more, so keep your eye on ratetherecord.ca, make sure you subscribe to the channel and all that fun stuff so that way you know exactly what we have coming out. In the meantime, I'll let you go now because at this point I'm just rambling. Go listen to some awesome music, and we'll see you again real soon. Take care, friends. Going back to talking about Molly for a second, how do you hold the microphone for as long as you do in your videos? You do it for a whole album. My arm's already tired. I've been recording for 10 minutes.